Baklava is steaming like a volcano, but for the first time in my life, I want to grab something hot. Let's set the pistachios aside for now, we'll need them a bit later. You have to work very quickly with the phyllo dough. We put the pan in, and I used to think that baklava was just a bit of honey and a bit of dough. Look, the syrup has thickened and become more viscous. You have to give a like if, just like me, you wanted to grab this hot, you could even say scorching, piece of baklava. And most importantly, pay attention to the nuts. We didn't skimp, we made it for ourselves. Friends, once again you can hear the Eastern motifs somewhere in the distance, but very clearly. That's why today I'll teach you how to make a very complicated dish, but it's extremely simple. Namely, as you saw in the title of the video, this is baklava. Check your subscription, hit the bell, and let's get started. First of all, I take a blender bowl and I need to chop 350 grams of pistachios. I took shelled and unsalted pistachios. Chop them into fine crumbs. Pour them into a convenient bowl. Set the pistachios aside, we'll need them a bit later. Friends, please note, I have 2 blocks of butter, about 400 grams. I need to melt it until it's liquid. I'm putting it in the microwave. The butter has melted as well. Set it aside, we'll get back to it a bit later. Next, we move on to the dough. Today I will be using phyllo dough. These are very thin sheets of Greek dough. That's exactly where it comes from. But I want to warn you right away, friends. You need to work very quickly with phyllo dough. It dries out instantly, so pay close attention. First of all, I want to shape the dough. We roll it out, place the mold, and cut out a circular shape using it. At the moment when I finish cutting through the entire thickness of the dough, don't worry, these trimmings will also go into our dish. We set the cut dough aside, and we also cut the trimmings and set them aside. We cover the dough with a towel so it dries out less. We do the same with the trimmings. Now we will proceed to the most monotonous task. This is to lay out the dough, but each layer also needs to be brushed with butter. So layer by layer, we lay it out and brush it with butter. Here we counted. We have 24 layers, including the trimmings. So we lay out the first 8, then the filling. I'll show all of this and more. This classic round shape is perfect for making pies with filling and baked vegetables. Friends, visually you need to divide all the nuts in half. One part goes in now, and the second part after the next layer of dough. The next layer we use is made from the trimmings, because I promised that we wouldn't throw them away. And don't let this amount of butter scare you, it actually helps you get a very delicate dessert in the end. The next layer of pistachios is also carefully and evenly sprinkled over the entire surface. The last 8 layers of phyllo dough, alternating with butter, begin their journey. The next step, we fold the edges so that not a single nut can escape. Before putting it in the oven, we need to shape each piece. We cut it with a knife that you absolutely don't mind using. We can cut it into regular squares, but I will use the classic diamond shape. This is the beauty we get, and we put it in the oven at 200 degrees for 55 minutes. The transparent glass allows us to watch the baklava as it cooks. And while the baklava is browning in the oven, we'll prepare the syrup for it. For this, we will need 400 milliliters of regular clean water. Turn on the heat and add 600 grams of sugar. Bring it to a boil and cook for 10 minutes. Write in the comments if I shocked you, not only with the butter, but also with the huge amount of sugar. The sugar has almost dissolved and the water is nearly boiling. And that means in exactly 15 minutes, the syrup will be ready. Look at how the syrup has changed. It's become thicker and has taken on an amber color. We turn off the heat and add the final ingredient, which is the juice of half a lemon. It's very heavy. Let's remove it. And we only have 2 things left. First, pour the sugar syrup, and second, wait until it all cools down. Notice how beautiful the nuts look, the bubbling butter, and the wonderful golden color of the top layer of dough. We carefully pour the sugar syrup, making sure to get it into all the grooves and cracks. You need to make sure that there's enough syrup to cover the entire surface, the whole area. You also need to pour more on top. You need to give a like, if you would too. Just like me, I wanted to grab this hot, you could say sizzling piece of baklava. Let's move on to the decoration. You could say the cherry on our cake is the portion of ground pistachios that I set aside before adding the second layer. So we take and put about half a teaspoon on each piece of baklava. That's all for now. Now, all that's left for us to do is put this dish in a calm, cool place so it reaches room temperature, and then we start tasting. After 3.5 hours, the baklava has cooled and is ready for tasting. An aesthetic shape, it looks beautiful on the table, and you can serve the finished dish right in it. We take out the best, most delicious piece of baklava and quickly start tasting it. We take it out carefully so the neighboring pieces don't fall apart. No utensils, just take it with your hand as we're used to doing and take a bite as soon as possible. The first thing I want to note is the amazing crunch, the aroma of pistachios, the sweet taste from the syrup, and a slight tang from the lemon. Most importantly, focus on the nut quantity. We didn't skimp, we made it for ourselves. Once again, I want to emphasize this crunch. Just listen, I demonstrated the sound. The syrup has soaked in, making it incredibly juicy and delicious. Just look at it closely and pay attention. Well, before the whole team dives into this baklava dish, I'll say goodbye to you. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and don't be afraid to experiment. Bye!